What do you think about Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua?
Boy, well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the heavyweight division.
Joe Rogan just dropped a bombshell, and apparently Jake Paul might want to start Googling safe career alternatives. Rogan publicly warned Jake to pull out of the Anthony Joshua fight, and the way he said it sounded less like friendly advice and more like, I have seen your future and it is not great. What does Rogan know that we don't? What did Jake get himself into, and is Joshua already practicing a knockout dance? Let's get into it.
They said, fight a real boxer. They said, fight someone your size. They said, fight a world champion. We looked at a long list of supposed fighters for me to fight. One name that stood out, Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua? That's gotta be it, Bernard! Fire up the jet! I'm going back to training camp. I'm fighting Anthony Joshua! MVP presents Jake versus Joshua. Judgment Day, December 19th, live from Miami at the Kaseya Center, 3-minute.
The internet didn't wake up gently this time. It woke up like it tripped over a dumbbell, spilled protein shake all over its timeline, and saw Joe Rogan standing over Jake Paul like a concerned cave philosopher holding a caution sign made of elk antlers.
I mean, dude, the speed that he hits him with this, he's so dangerous, man. It's like you're dealing with a guy who's an Olympic gold medalist, and he's enormous, and he's got vicious knockout power, and he's got immense amount of experience at world-class levels. Just think about what we...
Somewhere between the UFC clips and the conspiracy podcasts, the message landed with all the subtlety of a kettlebell to the forehead. This Anthony Joshua business is not a cute influencer field trip. This is a grown man thunderstorm disguised as a boxing match.
I actually think Jake Paul has a chance of beating Anthony Joshua. See, most of you are thinking about Anthony Joshua and y'all are thinking about like, oh my God, you know, Anthony's a beast. He's not the same fighter. He's took a lot of punishment. He doesn't move the same. He doesn't fight the same. He's not as hungry. Jake is catching Anthony Joshua at the perfect time. Listen to what I'm saying. He's catching him at the perfect time.
Jake Paul has made a career out of turning danger into content and controversy into currency. He's been speedrunning boxing like it's a YouTube challenge, jumping from novelty bouts to semi-legitimate competition with the confidence of a man who has never truly met consequence in the ring.
PWS says thoughts on Paul and Joshua happening in December. Anything, any prediction on how it will go? Yeah, if it's not handicapped, Anthony Joshua will knock him out.
Yeah, that's dangerous. That's dangerous. You know how much experience, how much.
I think Anthony Joshua won the gold medal. Didn't he win the gold medal for the super heavyweights in the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know Anthony Joshua's history, but I'm thinking about ring experience. That's pretty much.
The wins stacked up. The headlines grew louder. The ego expanded like it was on a subscription-based oxygen supply. But now, the algorithm has served him Anthony Joshua, and suddenly the mood shifts from prank vlog energy to life insurance brochure territory, because Anthony Joshua is not a plot twist. He is the final boss music starting early. This is where the podcast clouds parted, and Joe Rogan's cautionary thunder rolled through the internet like a warning from a very loud, very muscular oracle. Not the usual hype talk, not the motivational test-yourself bravado. This was the rare, unmistakable sound of someone slamming the emergency brake on a hype train that had no intention of slowing down. And the internet felt it. You could practically hear keyboards pause mid-tweet. Jake Paul thrives in environments where spectacle outweighs consequence. He turned spectacle into a business model. He weaponized outrage. He monetized disbelief. He boxed retired athletes, crossover fighters, and aging legends with the confidence of someone who always controlled the variables. Weight advantages, experience gaps, promotional angles. Everything arranged like a perfectly edited thumbnail.
Well, Jake Paul was supposed to fight Gervonta.
Now he's fighting, what's his name?
Anthony Joshua.
Andrew Joshua, yeah.
Anthony Joshua.
He gonna get mopped.
According to betonline.ag, Anthony Joshua's has minus 2,000 odds. That means you'd have to bet $2,000 to win $100.
If you think that Jake's gonna,
what's his name? Yeah, if you bet on Anthony Joshua to win,
Yes.
you'd have to bet 2,000 to get back 100.
Yeah.
Anthony Joshua does not care about thumbnails. Joshua operates in the original ecosystem of violence where men get paid to rearrange each other's futures with their fists. He doesn't rise from social media metrics. He rises from Olympic pedigree, championship belts, and the kind of heavyweight power that makes slow-motion replays look like fast-forward accidents. This is not a crossover match. This is a collision between viral ambition and raw industrial strength boxing reality. And the danger isn't just physical, it's existential. Jake Paul has spent years carefully rebranding himself from prank menace to controversial athlete. Every fight, even the risky ones, still protected the brand narrative. Bold, disruptive, winning on his own terms. But stepping into the ring with Anthony Joshua doesn't threaten a win or loss. It threatens the entire illusion that this is all still a game with influencer rules. But he has not yet been introduced to the kind of power that turns bravado into posture correction. The kind of power that makes your legs forget their job description. The kind of power that forces your soul to question its long-term career plans. Anthony Joshua is that power, in bulk.
You can't handicap a fight like this too, It's not.
He won the gold medal, Ocho, in the 2012 Olympics in London.
Yeah.
And the super heavyweight, the same one Klitschko, the same one Lennox Lewis. Yes.
Hell, this ain't no exhibition. This shit counts.
Okay.
It counts. So listen, listen. Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew, but maybe he can shock the world. But the chance of shocking the world against an experienced boxer who's been under the bright lights, biggest stage.
This man was the heavyweight champion.
And that is why the caution landed so loudly, because this wasn't internet trash talk for clicks. This was the rare moment where bravado met a brick wall wearing boxing gloves. The problem is that Jake Paul's brand is fueled by the very thing this fight threatens, the illusion of control. He controls the narrative. He controls the promotion. He controls the spectacle. But in a ring with a true heavyweight champion, control becomes a suggestion, not a guarantee. And Joe Rogan knows exactly what happens when delusion meets calibrated violence. And yet, here we are, watching this potential matchup hover in the rumor ecosystem like a red button labeled "Do Not Press" that somehow keeps getting closer to Jake Paul's fingertip. Because for him, it is just work. The strange thing is that Jake Paul doesn't even need this fight for relevance. He already dominates the viral boxing ecosystem. This is the point of no return energy. Joe Rogan's caution didn't sound like fear. It sounded like experience, like someone who has watched enough real fighters fall to understand how thin the line is between bravado and tragedy. The internet is excellent at glorifying risk right up until the moment consequences stop being funny.
I'm with Dana on this. First of all, kudos to Jake Paul. The cojones this motherfucker has, from a Disney kid to YouTube to he can fight anyone and get views and make fucking money. This crazy wild boy sends out the bat signal, the British bat signal for Anthony motherfucking Joshua. You know how crazy that is? I will say this. I don't think any of Jake Paul's fights are fixed in any capacity at all. Not even close. I don't get down that narrative. Again, I know online that's a fun narrative, all that shit. I will say this though. My spidey senses will go off if Anthony Joshua doesn't absolutely mop the floor with him. Now, kudos to Jake for taking this fight. My God, dude, you are a brave young man. You deserve every cent for that fight. My word, dude, there's so much respect.
And make no mistake, this wouldn't be a fun lesson. Jake Paul wants to enter that bubble because he believes his audacity is an asset. Audacity is powerful in entertainment. It is much less impressive when a 250-pound professional heavyweight is stepping forward with bad intentions. There's also the uncomfortable reality that Joshua doesn't need to prove anything in this matchup. He doesn't gain legacy points from beating an influencer. He gains a payday and a dangerous obligation to not underestimate a man who thrives on surprise. But because this is his world, overconfidence is less likely to blind him. Heavyweights don't survive long by confusing novelty with safety. On the other hand, Jake Paul would be stepping into unfamiliar moral territory. This wouldn't be the controlled chaos of internet theatrics. This would be a ring with no algorithm advantage. Anthony Joshua fights to reclaim, defend, and redefine a legacy carved out through years of legitimate warfare. These motivations don't share a frequency. They collide. The public would frame it as entertainment versus tradition. But the ring would not care about either. The ring only recognizes force, distance, timing, and error. An error in the heavyweight division is not a teachable moment. It is a medical event.
That means that if you bet $100 on him and he wins, you get $800 back.
Let me tell you something. If Anthony Joshua loses this, the fight was fixed. Because now he's fighting a real fighter.
Right. And, you know, unlike Gervonta, who was physically a lot smaller than him, Anthony Joshua is 245 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's taking this fight.
Well, I think he's tired of people saying he's not legitimate.
Well, I mean,
and the
he's
whole
been
thing
fighting non-legitimate people.
Right. So the whole critique has been, you want to be considered legitimate? Fight somebody legitimate.
Right, because even
Jake Paul's confidence has always been framed as revolutionary. He talks about challenging hierarchies, breaking the rules, proving that the outsiders can compete with the insiders, and to an extent, he has. But every revolution eventually meets a level of resistance it cannot meme its way through. Joshua is not a gatekeeper. He is a wall with momentum. The reason the caution cut through the noise is because it forced people to imagine something they'd been avoiding. The possibility that this particular stunt doesn't end as content. It ends as a case study. Anthony Joshua doesn't add chapters, he ends books. The real tension now isn't whether the fight could happen. It's whether Jake Paul is prepared to finally meet the version of boxing that does not allow reinvention after the fact. There is no viral redemption arc for waking up under the lights, wondering why your legs won't work. Joe Rogan's caution landed like a whispered emergency broadcast. Not sensational, not dramatic, just grounded in the brutal understanding that heavyweight boxing remains the last sport where fantasy routinely dies on live television. The internet doesn't like that truth because it ruins the game.
Jake Paul is going to get bodied by Anthony Joshua. Good for him for taking it, but it's not going to end well for him.
100%. But I've got AJ for knockout, definitely.
How many rounds do you think? 3 at the most.
Couple, like 3, 4, yeah.
I cannot believe I'm watching this. But is this guy deluded? Does Jake Paul actually think he can win?
It's good to see you.
Is he off his nut?
See you. How did this?
He sat there talking like he's got a chance.
Can I ask, what was your initial reaction?
We love the idea that confidence can conquer anything, that branding can overpower biology, that narrative is stronger than physics. Jake Paul's entire rise has been built on that belief. He made people question the boundaries between influencer and athlete. He blurred lines that once seemed immovable. Anthony Joshua represents the line that doesn't blur. This is mass versus marketing, power versus posture, training camps measured in decades versus careers measured in uploads. And even the most enthusiastic Jake Paul supporters quietly understand that this is not just another climb. This is a cliff with no safety net and a wind strong enough to push you even if you hesitate. Joshua doesn't offer curated danger. He offers the industrial strength kind that once shattered an entire heavyweight division and made grown champions reconsider their life choices. The most uncomfortable part of all of this is that the hype machine doesn't care if Jake Paul wins. It would profit just as aggressively from him losing. The machine feeds on collision, not outcomes, which means the loudest voices urging him forward would be perfectly fine watching him pay the price as long as the numbers spike.
There's not a chance that Anthony Joshua is not going to just lose the weight beforehand. He's not going to come in drained. What he's going to do is just do extra cardio, and that's just going to make him more dangerous. He's going to be terrifying, and he's going to have a lot to prove. He's going to be very angry that Jake Paul wants to fight him. Very upset that this YouTuber who's fought Tommy Fury, who's a legit boxer, and, you know, a couple other guys that were legit.
Joe Rogan's caution cuts directly against that machine. It's not glamorous. It doesn't go viral in the same way. It doesn't sell the fantasy. It reminds people that bodies have limits and that some opponents exist to enforce them. And that reminder is inconvenient in a culture that treats consequence as optional. Jake Paul now stands at an awkward crossroads between ambition and survival. The brand demands escalation. The spotlight demands spectacle. The ego demands validation. But the opponent demands respect in a way that no previous opponent truly has. Anthony Joshua is not a punch you train for. He is a punch you survive if you're qualified. That's part of his allure. That's part of his success. But every archetype eventually meets the test designed specifically to break it. This potential fight feels like that test. Not because Jake Paul lacks courage. He clearly doesn't. Not because he lacks skill. He has proven he belongs in a ring at a competitive level. But because courage and skill are not the currency of the heavyweight elite. Longevity is, timing is, durability is, experience is.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky. Getting there.
And those things cannot be rushed with a promotional budget. If this fight happens, it won't be remembered as a crossover spectacle. It will be remembered as the moment the internet tested the remaining boundary between performance and punishment. And the scariest part is that the crowd will cheer either way, because the internet doesn't demand safety. It demands spectacle. And spectacle, when paired with real danger, becomes something far more volatile than entertainment. Jake Paul could walk away from this and remain one of the most influential figures in modern boxing promotion. But that is not how this story has ever been told. This story is told in escalation, in bigger risks, in louder stages, in opponents who scare people enough to make the click worthwhile. Anthony Joshua doesn't just scare people, he scares ecosystems. Joe Rogan's caution now sits in the middle of this storm like an inconvenient truth no one can meme away. A reminder that for all the theatrics, real fighters bleed differently. Their losses aren't storyline arcs, they're medical charts. The fans will keep arguing. And Jake Paul will keep standing at the edge of a decision that could redefine him as either a fearless disruptor who dared everything or a cautionary tale who underestimated the last frontier of combat sports. All that remains unanswered is whether confidence will once again outrun consequence, or whether this time consequence has already stretched its gloves and is waiting calmly in the heavyweight corner, unimpressed by thumbnails and unbothered by bravado. Because in the end, the ring has never cared about followers, it only cares about force.